Welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about this one. So this is Elements of Magic, Reclaiming Earth, Air, Fire, Water, and Spirit. The foreword is by Starhawk. It is edited by Jane Meredith, and I don't know how to say the person's name, but their last name looks like maybe Parma? Names, not great at them. So this book is basically where they had taken a kind of course workshop thing from their tradition and put it into a written form. And it is like, it's sometimes over a weekend, sometimes it's over like 6 weeks. It just kind of depends on how they're running things and whatever, but it is for their tradition, how they would teach about the elements. It's mostly a lot of meditation. There are a couple other different types of exercises, but the majority is just meditating. Also, she has been sitting on my lap, but once I start recording, she's done with it all. But isn't she so cute before she runs away and gets really mad? So I would give this book a 3 out of 5 star. And a lot of that is just personal preference for what I thought this book was going to be. And I noticed a few other people had that as well in the reviews. But like when I looked at this, I didn't think reclaiming as in reclaiming tradition. I was just like, that's an interesting way to think about it. So I wish the cover had a little bit more of like, hey, this is for the reclaiming tradition, learning the elements, rather than like it's there, but it wasn't like at the forefront. It felt like just like reclaiming tradition or reclaiming the elements through their tradition, or just some indication instead of just reclaiming, because like they don't own that word, but that word can be used by other people. And like really this book, if you are not part of their tradition, you're not going to get a whole lot from this book. The articles and the way everything is written, it seemed like every single page, almost paragraph really, reclaiming, 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 and the reclaiming every single time. So there was no other traditions, other beliefs, other mentions. It is really just a book for their tradition, which is fine, but I'm not part of their tradition. It's not one that calls to me. And a lot of people kind of have that as well in the reviews. If you're part of their tradition, great. You've got a written source of a course that they offer, but otherwise, like, if you're not part of them, it's just like, oh look, it's their tradition. Cool, just like one of their core materials that they would probably be required to read. The intended audience, therefore, is going to be all about the reclaiming tradition. If you don't know, that is the tradition started by Starhawk back in like the 80s, maybe a little before then, but her book came out in, I think it was 1980 officially, something like that. It's her tradition and it's kind of taken off beyond her, but she was kind of the one who kickstarted it all, and it is called The Reclaiming Tradition. Would I buy this book? No, I don't have any real urge or desire. Like, I have Spiral Dance by Starhawk, and I have her Not Death book that is it's really their tradition and them talking about how their tradition handles death, and it's not very helpful if you're not their tradition. And that's how most of the books go for the reclaiming. If you aren't part of their tradition, there's not a whole lot for you. It's a very specific kind of tradition, and it's just not for me. If you're not familiar with them, it's a lot of kind of strong feminism, eco-consciousness, activism, stuff like that. That's just not, like, it's good. They're doing the good fight, good for them. And this book at least did have some good things to that too, that they're trying to be a little more conscious now as things have changed. Instead of saying that like the reclaiming tradition is for men and women, they have added in a lot of different things into that because they've realized that's kind of limiting. So they're including like trans, non-binary, like they're trying to be more inclusive in their verbiage. And they did have a nice paragraph somewhere in there. I don't remember which section, to be honest. One of the sections, I want to say it was for air, because like speaking in words, but I could be wrong. But it talked about how you want to use words, and it's a good thing to use all of the words and all of the letters and get specific. Words have power, and it's kind of disrespectful in a way to just like summarize it just for simplicity's sake, because really adding a couple extra words or a couple extra letters isn't really going to change anything. Like, it's really not that hard to do, and it matters to the people that belong to those communities to have that representation. And I thought that was a really nice touch, and I'm glad they're like becoming more conscious and trying to be more welcoming to everybody and trying to cover everybody. And instead of just saying people, they're making sure to use all of the labels so that you are seen, you're heard, you know that you specifically are welcomed into their space, which I thought was really nice. So yeah, overall, this is just Oh, and I guess I should mention too, it is edited by, because there's a bunch of different authors throughout here. It's just a variety of different articles in this book that just goes over different topics that are kind of loosely related to the element. But again, it's really just talking about it from that tradition and their point of view. There's just a lot of different people that contributed. Sometimes it is the two editors had a couple articles, but for the most part it was other people. And I think they just wrote the like intro to the chapters, and that was about it. As always, a huge thank you to my patrons. If you want to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, if you want to check out my latest book, it'll be available any day now. I don't know exactly when, because that's not a thing Amazon does. It just, you hit publish and then you just wait some time. But it ended up coming out sooner than anticipated, so my book is now available if you want to check it out. So yeah, it'll be available linked on my blog in the description. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.